Thank you very much, Ayushi. Delighted to be here and happy Pride Month to everybody. Um, so, um, yes, thank you for that rather elaborate introduction. Yeah, indeed, I must say that I've been very happy and fortunate to have been involved with the LGBT rights movement over the past 20, 25 years, ever since I came back to India. And this period has been marked by many milestone events. For instance, one of the organizations I'm very proud of having grown over the past 2 decades is the Gay Bombay group that you mentioned. We started that in 1998, and this was the pre-internet and pre-social media time when the visibility of the community itself was very low. It was very difficult for LGBT people to meet each other in a non-sexual or non-secretive environment. People were very shadowy in their lives. Most people were very scared of coming out and declaring their sexuality. Many people were not out to their families and certainly not out at their workplace. It was a very challenging time to really sort of network within the community and provide a supportive space for people to network with each other, which incidentally now in a lot of the cities, a lot of the youth groups are doing extremely successfully and thanks to the social media. But as I said, in those times, it was very challenging. We just had email and landline phones, not even mobiles. So that is how we started with a very small group, and then we organized a lot of meets in safe spaces at people's homes, where till then the community used to only meet in at night time, away from all the light. So we were pioneers in starting events that happened during the daytime, so people could feel safe in meeting other people and basically get support of each other. And we would organize a lot of workshops and speaker series about all the issues that were of relevance, things like coming out strategies, dealing with extortion and blackmail, dealing with sex related issues, uh, and just a whole and relationship issues. So pretty much people were floundering and pretty clueless about how to lead, a healthy LGBT life. So from then on, one of the landmark things that happened was, of course, the 2009 Delhi High Court judgment, which was the first one to let 377 go. So that was a huge sort of milestone for us, and I think that gave impetus to a lot of the younger members of the community, encouragement and the courage to come out. So 2009 was big. Of course, we had a minor setback in 2013 when the Supreme Court again set aside the 2009. But by then, we had already come a long way, and we were on social media, and we already had many groups that were operating in many cities. So the 2013 setback didn't really make too much of an impact in terms of building the community in various cities. I've been very active in both Mumbai and Bangalore, to some extent in Chennai. I'm basically Tamil, even though I grew up in Delhi. So some of these cities like Hyderabad and Chennai were even much behind, the metropolitan cities like Delhi and Mumbai in terms of having either pride marches or having people coming out sort of publicly about their sexuality. So it was very challenging, and each city had its own issues. And I think somebody like my young friend Akshay here, who works in Bhopal now, I'm just like so impressed with people like him and his organization and his friends working in sort of smaller cities now. But in those days, even Mumbai and Bangalore were, very similar to what it is Surat or Nagpur or any other small town today is. Anyway, be that as it may, I think we've come a long way. And as you mentioned, the 2018 Supreme Court ruling on 377 was a watershed event. And right now we are in the midst of same-sex marriage rights, case as well. They're in court, and then in the middle we had the transgender, bill of rights and so on. So there have been progress legally, of course, but I have realized for a very long time, and seeing the trend abroad, in even in the US and in other European uh, countries, that what is more important and critical is to have social change, social mindset change. So to make the community more visible, making it more mainstream, making the the broader public more aware of the LGBT community's existence and their challenges and their issues, whether they are allies or whether they are families or whether they are colleagues at work. So I think this is an ongoing process. I think every generation have their own set of issues. There are other related issues like depression, mental health issues, and so on. Other illnesses like HIV. HIV, thankfully now it's under control, but it was very, very, very problematic about 20 years ago. So I think every decade brings new challenges, and I think now we feel equipped to face these challenges. Yeah. So that, in a nutshell, is what I feel has happened over the past 20-25 years.
Okay. Thank you for sharing your experience. So, how has the perception and acceptance of the LGBT community in India has evolved over the past 3 decades? And what have been some significant milestone in this journey?
Um, I think certainly there has been a lot of progress, and I would like to highlight the role of the parents. In fact, the family and the parents, and there's a very large group of parents of LGBT children now. It's called Civicar, and you'll be happy to know that the very first parents' meet in India happened at my home at Bandra in 1998. That was the very first meet where we called certain parents who were already accepting of their children being gay to come and share their experiences, and more importantly interact with the rest of the community members, because I think in India, for whatever reason, family is very, very, very important, and most of the LGBT people, one of the biggest thing they worry about is their rejection or lack of acceptance of their sexuality by their parents. So we figured out at an early stage that it's very important to get as many parents and families on board. So we had siblings meet, because usually the siblings are somewhat more accepting at times than parents. So we needed to, in fact, the very first petition in the High Court, Delhi High Court, had a parents' petition, which essentially said that we as parents don't have any problem with our children being gay. So who are others or anybody else, religious groups or anybody else? Who are they to say that it's not okay to be LGBT? And that was a very, very powerful petition on behalf of the parents. And we were instrumental in developing that and getting in touch with 20 parents all over India to file that petition. And of course, now increasingly the parents group have grown and they take part in a lot of workshops and conferences, and more they talk to other parents who are finding it challenging to accept it, so on. So I think acceptance within the family and by parents and siblings is something that has grown over the years and which we are very happy about. The second is the role of media or depiction of homosexuality, lesbians and gay men in films and TV series and various newspaper articles and so on. So now on social media as well as in to some extent in Bollywood movies and certainly in web series, there are many examples of very healthy, good depiction of gay people and their relationship. Because for the longest time, LGBT relationships, whether lesbian relationship or a gay men's relationship, was not respected. It was kind of, it was seen as a joke because the entire focus was only on sex. So people had a very difficult time accepting romance and affection or a family with same-sex parents and so on. So that is changing. I think every year there are instances of very good, web series and other. I know it only is directed at or targets a particular section of society, but nevertheless, I think it is an influential segment of society, the educated, English-speaking section who have a lot of influence. Another important thing that I would just like to mention in passing, even though I'm not an expert on transgender movements. However, I've had very close transgender friends, non-binary friends over time, and I've seen their struggle, which tends to be much harder in than the gay men or the lesbians, because it's easier for gay men and lesbians to kind of be in the closet or at least not be very open at the workplace about their sexuality, but it's very difficult for transgender people to do that. So I've seen their struggle, and I'm very happy that the transgender community now is getting very powerful and influential, and they're very assertive, and there are leaders within the community, and they have good representation in many organizations, and there is a lot of initiative in the corporate circles to recruit, eligible transgender employees and so on. My friend Keshav Suri has done wonders in the Lalit group of hotels in recruiting transgender, gay, and lesbian staff at various levels. So I think these are very positive developments that I have seen in the past 2 decades.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, you can raise your hand. He's dropping. Okay. Yes, Ratna ma'am. Please go ahead.
Hi, Valchandran sir. It's really nice. It was so nice to hear you talk right now, and there are so many students who have joined us today, and there are people from all over the country, in fact, who have been asking us questions and trying to understand about different aspects of being part of the LGBTQ community as such, and this is such a refreshing perspective. In fact, I would say that it brings back memories from so many years, and it's so nice that you were able to discuss about that here. So thank you very much for that at first. My question to you is, from the point of view of having students being educated or institutes being educated about bullying, about the different aspects of how inclusion can happen at institutes as such, what is it that you would like to speak regarding that, about LGBTQ issues in colleges and institutions as such, from a point of view of being discriminated at institutes as itself? So what are the things that they can actually do. And my second question is with regards to the job opportunities itself. We're an organization which works towards the job opportunities and providing job opportunities to different marginalized communities. But specifically from the LGBTQ community, what according to you used to be back then from the jobs perspective, and how if you think it is different now, what would you like to say about that?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ratna, for the encouraging comments and the questions. I'll try to address them as much as I can. Unfortunately, because of my background, I only have limited exposure to the type of institutions that I have either taught at or students of which I've interacted with. I'm very happy now that compared to say 15 years ago, in many of the engineering colleges, especially at IITs and also in some of the other leading colleges, also in certain uh, institutes, certain colleges like Wilson College in Mumbai or St. Xavier's in Delhi. There are actually now LGBT chapters. For instance, IIT Delhi has a chapter called Interdanush. IIT Bombay has a chapter called Sati. So these are amazing developments. I mean, I could not even imagine when I was a student, whatever, 40 years ago, uh, to have an LGBT support group on campus, which would be funded by the administration and which is support space for anybody who identifies as non-straight to approach with any issues they may have, either academic but more importantly mental health related, because at that age mostly the marginalized community people face a lot of stress and depression, which is very common, and I think we all know about the suicides that happen in leading institutes and so on. So I think these support spaces serve a great purpose in providing resources to people who they're quite high profile on campus, and they organize events and workshops and film screenings and such. I have myself gone and spoken at many undergraduate institutes. Unfortunately, because of language reasons, I can only speak in English. But wherever I've been invited, I have gone and addressed very large groups of students, like 300 and 400, where there have been very interesting interactive sessions where they have asked very basic questions. But nevertheless, it was delightful to talk about the LGBT community. I have often taken along with me certain non-binary young people. This is kind of like show and tell sort of sort of a case where on stage they see people who are non-binary or non-straight people, very young, their cohorts, who will talk about their experience. I had taken some my friends from IIT Bombay and so on. So I have, wherever we have, and also some of the Kashish and some of these larger LGBT events that happen in each city, they usually also screen these LGBT films on campuses of colleges, so that the mainstream people will get to know about LGBT issues and the depiction of the LGBT community, so on. Now, unfortunately, because of legal reasons, we are unable to work with anybody under the age of 18. Therefore, we cannot really, without the consent of parents, reach out to people under the age of 18, say in high school. Even if many of them, because of social media, they're all on, Instagram and Facebook, and they know about the LGBT organizations and the individuals, and they often interact or ask questions or send emails and so on. But we have to be very careful for legal reasons while interacting with anybody under the age of 18, which is a bit of a limitation. So only certain schools like the Tagore International School in Delhi, for instance, have LGBT support, because now everybody is reaching puberty early, I believe, compared to earlier years. So by the time one is 13 or 14, one already knows whether one is non-binary or transgender or gay or lesbian. So and that's also a very vulnerable age, when you're adolescent and so on. So I think at that time there are only two sets of people who can help them. One is the teachers in teachers in their school, and then the second one are the family and the parents. So therefore, we try and reach out to the teachers were adults in many schools and make them sensitized to the presence of LGBT children. But then it's always extremely difficult and challenging, and even today I think people find it very difficult to engage with LGBT children school, either in the school environment or in the family environment, which is kind of sad, and I think we need to crack that, like how they've done abroad, in a lot of cases. But here, I think the age of 14 to 18 still is an under-serviced kind of community, so to speak. And only after they reach 18 and they kind of reach out to the LGBT organizations or through their college or whatever, then we are able to address that. So I think so that's what we have been able to do some work in the educational institutions. But then it is still continues to be very conservative. I have a lot of friends who work in international schools of repute, which are supposed to be very progressive and so on, but even there they're not able to come out, because the parents often raise objection and so on. So the education institutions, schools certainly continue to be quite conservative, so to speak. They're probably very conservative in other aspects too, but definitely for LGBT issues they've been conservative. Now, as regards your comment or question about jobs, um, I think it's a kind of tricky. Of course, see, first of all, a lot of people do not wish to come out at the workplace when they are at a junior level for whatever reason. Like I was already quite senior when I came back from the US and rejoined my multinational company, which also had a global LGBT, whatever support group and all that. So I was very comfortable coming out. But then today, somebody even graduating from a top institute and joining a reputed company would hesitate a lot in coming out at the workplace. I think they will take their own time. That is why I have interacted with a lot of LGBT ERG groups. They're called employee resource groups, right? In many fairly multinational companies, whether Hewlett Packard or KPMG, I have friends everywhere. But even in those companies, there are many who are not part of the ERG. They continue to staying in the closet. Anyway, whatever that be. As far as opportunities for for LGBT members are concerned, um, I think I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think we can really ask for an LGBT quota or something. Though I would love it if we did have that 10%, but I don't think that's practical. But so I've always put a major emphasis on education and general awareness among the community. So all the meets and workshops we have with young people, we have always emphasized the need to be independent financially, be employable, be as aware as possible, and so on and so forth. So one cannot afford to be helpless. But of course, there are organizations like Pride Circle, and now there are many forums which kind of consciously reach out to the community and telling them it's a kind of a positive signaling. So when a company says like KPMG that we want to hire members of the community, it's not like they're going to hire anybody. Obviously, they're going to only hire people who are otherwise competent and eligible and qualified to be hired. But nevertheless, they tell them that it's a positive signaling that you can be who you are when you join us. You can bring your entire self to the workplace. You don't have to hide any aspect of your life. You don't have to hide any part of your personality. So I think that is a sort of a, if I may use the term virtue signaling, in the sense that the company is then seen to be progressive and modern and have an inclusive environment. And usually the people who are group in these companies, when they go for these recruitment, workshops or seminars or interviews or whatever, they certainly make it known that the company is very, very inclusive, and they have nothing to worry about. And I think that's a great thing. I think it's really great. Of course, there are other, like my friend Zainab Patel has opened a trans cafe. She has opened a trans salon. And there are initiatives in Pune and so on to employ trans people, basically upskill them, like people who have had not had a great education, to upskill them and make them employable, whether, as a Uber driver or whatever. I mean, obviously, transgender people are as competent and capable as anybody else. So there's no reason why they cannot be employed. So I think those are initiatives which are taking place. So I would say across the board, at different sort of levels, there are initiatives that are happening. But I'm very, very happy that more and more corporates are coming on board now, because it's very uncool to be seen as, homophobic or whatever. So more companies are, even traditionally conservative companies, people who are very old. I must just mention one of my young friends, uh, and he joined Infosys like 15 years ago, and he realized that there was no LGBT support group in Infosys, which is such a large company, and he joined, their Mysore campus, which is one of their large campus. And you won't believe it, he actually went and met Mohan Das Pai, who was the HR head at that time, and he single-handedly ensured that Infosys set up an LGBT wing. So, I mean, there are instances of very courageous youngsters who single-handedly brought about huge change within large organizations. So, which gives a lot of confidence to people that it's not so difficult after all. If you have the will and the courage, you can get anything done.